Hey, what's up? Cedric here, CR Wrestling Commentary, answering viewers, and there's a bit of disappointment with this. Not the question, but, well, I was asked the question, will WWE start another monopoly, and is there a way to stop it? You know, for the first time, I actually put research, study into, because I wanted to answer this as thorough as I possibly could. And that's what all this time was. From the moment that question was asked and I got it, when I got it, I was like, all right, let me go and do some WWE research. Let me go into my repertoire of capitalist businesses and whatnot. Let me go into what has worked in the past and what will work in the future. I want to put together something so detailed, yet that could be done under 5 minutes for viewer retention and whatnot, because normally people would have already checked out by now anyway. So AEW, Tony Khan derailed all of that. And then something else derailed it. I don't know the current status of the National Wrestling Alliance. I don't know how they're doing things. So, but I'm fine with that part because the NWA does have a base you can always rely on. So, this really hurt. This disappointed me. So, I'm going to just try to do this sort of. I'm sorry if it's not good enough, but I'm going to be as straightforward, honest as I can be, no matter how much it might hurt you and or I. So, or you might get mad because you don't know what you're talking about because you don't agree with me. That's pretty much what usually happens. You don't know what you're talking about because you don't agree with me. you know. So listen. So this is a two-parter technically, but will WWE start another monopoly? They're attempting. It's loose. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. The WWE through their ID and working with other promotions saying that, yeah, you and I can have a working partnership, but you can't work with AEW. You can't work with the NWA. Now, it's like if your talent wants to be here, they've got to sign with you. They sign with you. If we need some talent, something we can look in at you. It's not so much a monopoly as it is just, you could work at that low grade Wendy's, but we all know the king is McDonald's. So if you're gonna get some fast food, experience in, where you gonna go? You can go to Wendy's to start, but that's not where you want to be. That's sort of what WWE is doing with all of these other mild promotions. And in their way of doing it is also the WWE is making sure not to make those promotions grow. So WWE is, quote unquote, the monopoly. They were the only game in town. And they do anything to shut others out. And how? You can't do it by saying you can't be in business. At that point, they're going to prison. All right, that legitimately that you can't be in business, only we can. But they're not doing that. They're going to turn every other promotion into a school. That's it. Every promotion is development, and that's about it. It's school and development. And WWE is where you go when you want to show that you've made it. So you can go to Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and more recently they've added TNA, which is a development subsidiary. Let's not fool ourselves. We know what's going on. Now, because of this, promotions aren't really able to get a foot on the ground and do anything because WWE goes to every town in they're very strategic. They're always within about 200-mile driving distance. And a lot of people will fly from one part of the country to the other. WWE's prices are severely targeting the middle class and upper class. And if anyone else wants to go, then they're going to shell out money. That means they drain so much money from these neighboring areas. They don't have enough to go to AEW like they could. Because they could, then WWE's prices skyrocketed, and that showed who was in charge. That's WWE prices were fine, then they went up, and every time they went up, Paul Levesque would go out and say, what? Because of you, we've grossed this gate. He's literally telling the fans, you gave us all of your money, so we have made this much money. Thank you. AEW, they used to try to hold stadiums and mass areas, but the fans, they choose what? McDonald's over Wendy's, McDonald's over Carl's Jr., McDonald's over, the other side, Hardee's. They chose McDonald's every single time. So they ain't got any chance. That's why Tony Khan's venues have shrank. That's what happens. So that's how you control, that's how you dominate. And then you want to spend more money, you get rid of your talent and let him gobble them up for an absorbent amount of money. Tony Khan is spending way more money on talent than he is pulling in. And that is when he was running stadiums. He's roughly just above TNA. Just keep that in mind. He went from stadiums. He went from 10 and possible 20,000 people to bust down to 2,000 to 4,000 people. Sometimes just 1,200 or 1,500. That's what Tony Khan's been busted down to. Now, it's not Tony's fault completely. It's just that those that would rather see him ain't got the money because they're saving up for McDonald's. That's what's going on. It is a monopoly, but it's not. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. And how can you stop it? I had a good detailed thing written up, and honestly, can you stop this train? Can you stop that freight train? It don't have brakes. It don't have brakes. But what would slow it down? When people don't have money, you've got to feed your family, pay the bills and stuff, and apartment prices are going up. Food and supply prices have drastically gone up about 25 to 33%. People wages haven't gone up at all. So while you're paying a whole lot more to get so much less, when WWE rolls around, I'm just gonna be brutal. The poors, the lower class, those that make, look, let's just keep it real. In order to be middle class, you have to have an exact minimum of about $82,000 to $84,000 a month. A year. That's what you got to make. And idiotically in this country, that's gross, not net. So net, you're not looking at a gross of 80-some thousand. You're looking at a gross of about 96 to 97,000 to just break middle class. And lower class is not that 79,000 and lower. No, it's not. Lower class is about, honestly, it's still 44,000. That's the top of lower class. That middle part, that's when we're going to mess with your tax bracket. Just saying. Just saying. So the people that are working in that area, that 40, 50, 60, the $19,000 to $32,000 a year, they got to save up if strategically smart to go. Middle class, they just go. Upper class, those are your front row people. Those are your floor people. The poor upper class. That's what those are. So you can stop it, And it's simple. It's so simple. It's crazy. Like I said, it's a freight train. Ain't no brakes on it. But when people ain't got money, that straightaway on them tracks or that slight downhill starts turning into a rising incline. And people can't afford to go. They can't afford $2,000 for cheap tickets. They can't afford, 40 to 80 some $1,000 for a specialty front row extravaganza meet and greet and stuff like that, and getting a piece of this or that material or something, memorabilia or a chair or a handshake. They can't afford that ad nauseum. So what do? It's so simple. You have to wonder why no one's doing it. All a company has to do is not compete with WWE. That's the very first and foremost thing. Find your style. What do the people around your community want to see? You pick a venue. You stay at that venue for a while. Let those people get to know you, and let those people pick the style that they want to see to an extent. To an extent. Because they just want to see people leaping over the top rope and table breaks and stuff like that, and they don't care for nothing else. What happened to AEW, they don't care for that. You see it. They might pop a little bit, but then they get quiet because they're waiting for the next spot. They want to see the next break. They don't care. They're not caring for the build up to it. They just want to see when you do it. You have to present professional wrestling. There's a Southern style and Northern style of pro wrestling. Southern style is kind of wild, fighting, yada yada. Storylines are predominantly carried out through physical action and some in-ring talk, but usually backstage something, and then every once in a while, if heated, main event level, backstage jumping during the interview. Northern wrestling style, which would be, your New York area and all that stuff, Vermont and Maine and stuff. Northern style is what you see in the ring. It's a match. You do your promos in the back, yada yada, they're short. And then you come out and do your match with maybe an end promo because there's some beef going on. And you sort of handle it back for there's a moderation to it. Northern sports entertainment style is what you see now. You might get a 3-hour show with about 3 to 5 matches, but most of it is talking commercials, backstage talking commercials. You want to hear what they're going to say? Watch WWE and actually watch it. People are popping for somebody to talk. They're paying an absorbent amount of money for these tickets to watch people dress up and talk. It's not about the story. It's not about they don't care. And WWE knows it. And they listen to their audience. They know what the audience will be all right with, and they're going to keep doing it. But if you got somebody coming out saying, hey man, they actually wrestle. The stories fit the matches. They're not throwing titles around left and right. They're building up their champions. That's what people would like to see. A lot of people don't even know that's what they would rather see. But they start watching it and they'll be like, for some reason, this is better than WWE. They'll say that for some reason, this is better than WWE. And then you'll have those that'll say something a little silly when you think about it. Man, they ain't got no pyro though. I'll be like, I never saw pyro get a 1, 2, 3. Is anyone ever put on submission hold, pyro goes off and they tap out? You think about that. Just think about that. So, if you can get a place that can do professional wrestling and build up from there, storylines, they don't have to be over the top storylines. They've got to be real storylines. What do you see every day? What goes on every day that anyone could relate to and say, oh man, I get that. If I was dude there, that's what you want. That's what you want. And then build it. Every single week, have yourself a nice little roster, about 10 minimum, 10 people minimum. You don't even need tag teams at first. Wait until you get enough to build up the tag teams, because you want to build a tag team that has to come out of a singles situation. And you do it steady, you do it slow, real slow. And you build up. Let that community know who you are, who your wrestlers are, and charge. You ain't got to charge $50 and $60 and $80 and $100 for a ticket to see wrestling. In general, even today, you can get a good venue of maybe 300 people, 500 people, and then slowly build up and charge $30. Kids get in for 10, not 10, but 20. So 30 for adults, and kids, like, I know 18 is considered adult. It is depending upon how you want to use the law and how you think of people. But 18 down to, I would say, 13, 20. And then for under than that, toggle it how you want. $10, $15 for 12 and under. And if that kid can barely walk on their own, they're a toddler, free. You ain't got to charge for that. You ain't gonna be like, hey, look, man, that's a baby in your arms, right? $10. No, that's just heartless. Just an elderly can get in for 15. The elderly gets in for 15. The fact that they are old, they done paid their dues. Let them chill. You see what I'm saying? Grow that community. Have the baby faces interact after the matches if they're able to. I've seen some stuff and it was like, no, don't even bother them. That person is hurt. I've seen stuff. So you can build up that way. And that brings me to the National Wrestling Alliance. I don't know how Corgan is running things right now. I don't. I haven't watched it in a while because I'm scared. I don't want to get hooked and then be like, what is this crap? I was spared that by accident. When Nick Aldis left, I was like, so why am I watching this? Because he was the glue to me. And then I saw they was trying to do other things. I was like, okay, and they still got these people there. And I was like, what are you doing with Gags? What are you doing with this other guy? Why is this even? What is this? And we just stopped. And then Samain happened. And we're like, oh my gosh. So, but yet I'm going to say this. Down to the wire, the National Wrestling Alliance, by and large, no matter what idiocy they've done, their professional wrestling, when they get in there, they're polished. Oftentimes they are polished. Last I saw, they were slowly trying to bring in the flippy flop people, which I do not agree with, because the National Wrestling Alliance had a status. They had stature. There was a belief system that they actually did, and that was the pro wrestling is sound. The moves, we know what to do. We know how to place our spots and do these things. And you could trust that system. That was an amazing system. And for those that might think differently, I want you to think about Camille and what you saw of her. She was good and elevating other talent. And other talent was elevating her. Because we know how abysmal she was in the beginning. And they don't have a training ground so that you can watch her in the ring. She knows how to wrestle, but you watched her evolve into a polished professional wrestler. Whether sometimes you need help, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you are the help. Then she goes to All Elite Wrestling, and you're like, what are you doing and why? What is this? What? And then she's gone. And I haven't been looking for her or anything. But you want to stop a monopoly giant like WWE? If every single company out there just said, we are not going to compete with WWE. We are not going to compete with our neighbor. We are going to find who we are as a personality of company. We are going to use professional wrestling at its base, and we're going to build people up from there. And we're going to work with our communities, and we're going to charge them a small, easy fee that people can just basically come on in. It's been a week. Y'all know they're going to have an event, twice before you get paid. They already know I'm saving up my $60 right now. I'm going to get my tickets in advance. I'm going to do yada, yada, yada. Whatever it is, whatever it takes. And they're going to show up. And they're going to tell their friends and their family. And they're going to talk about people online. And these companies need to have a YouTube presence. They need to have a social media presence. That's what they need. And they also need to get their own local TV show going. And then just the TV shows come out 3 or 4 days after the show has already been aired. I mean, they run the show, they got it recorded, they edit all this stuff, and they put it on TV for an hour. Maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2. And they get TV exposure. They'll say ass, damn, but nothing hardcore. No F-bombs, no MF bombs. Not calling somebody a bitch. I mean, it's pretty much accepted, but, that should be main event and someone actually angry, not just to get a pop. It should be earned. And that is what you do. And now you're getting TV exposure. And the TV might say, hey, you got to stop that YouTube stuff. And you be like, at the time, cool, but we reserve the right as soon as you decide to do some silly stuff, we're going right back to YouTube and other social media. But we getting our regional exposure, we're going to stop the social media, and we're going to do that. And you make sure your talent ain't trying to tell all the business everywhere or anywhere. That's how you can stop them. That's how you actually compete with WWE, by not competing with WWE. You ain't trying to make your stars look like that. You're not trying to have all the pyro. You're not trying to have all the advertisements and stuff. All that advertisement and sponsor stuff will come as it needs to. It will find you because they need more eyes on their prize. And they will see you and see those TV numbers and say, we need you. They'll come for you. You will be getting that money. The TV will be giving you that money. And pay your talent accordingly. The last I've heard a few promoters, including Jim Cornette, say basically the money's split in thirds. You've got talent, putting it back into business, and then other. And sometimes you might get they wouldn't do anything, but if you got a profit bonus, I say split that with the talent and the staff and whatnot. Keep your ring clean. Make sure you always got a backup mat and stuff like that because you don't know what's going to happen. It's a lot of high maintenance, but if your wrestlers are chipping in and the community is chipping in to help your company grow and stay afloat, there's no better thank you than we're going to give you the best that we can every time. You don't compete with WWE. And that's the best way to compete with WWE. This has been Cedric for CRWC and Commentary, answering viewers on will WWE start another monopoly, and is there a way to stop it? I want y'all to be cool, be chill, be safe, so we can see you next time.